And a good Monday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you. We're grateful to have you back. A start of a new week, and we're grateful to have all of our guests back with us. They've either been sick or have had some serious problems, and we've really missed this old guy. Emphasis on the guy, not the old. Jeemes Akers with us tonight, late. And with Johnson, I can't even interview him past 7:30. So I think there's something to be said. You're a lot. I wouldn't say a lot older, but I don't know what it is with Johnson. We can't even get him to stay up past 9. I can get you to stay up till I've interviewed you at 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's pretty impressive, Akers. I'm just saying. But good to see you tonight, man. How are you?
I am doing fine, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing good. It is such a pleasure to have you back, man. We've missed you last week, and our prayers for your sister-in-law and your wife, and God bless you guys. We've been praying for you on our Sunday shows, and just be safe in your travels, and we're praying God will work all that other physical stuff out with Emma, and we're grateful. We're grateful that God answers prayers without a doubt, and I know you believe in that. And
absolutely, thank you for your prayers. I mean, the prayers of a righteous man availeth much in the kingdom of God.
Amen, buddy. I couldn't say amen more to that. Listen, several things I want to talk with you about. It's been a while since we've discussed the world, and I want to start off tonight with a breaking news story. It looks like that James Comey, the indictment, of course, came down about a month ago. He's been trying to get this New Jersey district attorney removed, a U.S. attorney, I should say, removed off his case, and a judge tonight late has issued a restraining order against the current judge from doing just that. So this lady that has been really putting his feet to the fire looks like she's going to try this case. I don't want to make this about James Comey tonight because we've got a lot more important fish to fry. But do you think that eventually that this attempt by this judge, there's going to be some oversight to him, that he's going to call balls and strikes fairly? Because, you get a bad umpire, and James Comey's going to walk out that back door, James, as fast as he walked in. And I don't think people want that. I think they want to see justice done. And, I mean, again, if he's not guilty, he's not guilty. But at least let the jury have a fair shake at this. That's my opinion about it. What's yours?
Absolutely the same. There has to be some measure of accountability for these people for what they did for political reasons, and let them have their day in court. But enough of this maneuvering before things even get to court. So.
Absolutely, and it's just all political. I want to ask you a question. This may be more for a legal expert. I know that you have some knowledge in this, but how do these cases get assigned to these liberal judges? It seems like every time a big-name liberal goes on trial, they wind up with a Biden judge, an Obama judge, a Clinton judge, and it is so unfair. And I don't know, is it just the way that the District of Columbia is drawn? Does the Department of Justice have any say in that, or does it just fall under jurisdiction laws?
No, as far as I know, they are just assigned pretty much on an as-is basis, and part of the reason why you have so many liberal judges involved in these major cases is that there are so many liberal judges these days. So, it is very hard to find a good conservative judge, and the court dockets are such that you really can't pick and choose.
I got you. Okay. Well, that makes sense. We just, look, I want to. I think, as you said, this maneuvering before the court case makes it seem so political, and it just stinks. The Comey thing in general stinks. The whole Arctic Frost thing stinks, and I think people need to go to jail if they broke the law, and that's just the bottom line. If they didn't break the law, they don't go to jail. But I got a feeling that when all is said and done, there's going to be a lot more of them coming before judges than just James Comey. And I think that's just my opinion. We'll see how it plays out. Big story, Epstein files are going to be released tomorrow. It seems to me, but my friend, that this has been a boomerang. The Dems have had these files. They had them for 4 years under Biden. They didn't release them. They got whiff of maybe some connection between Trump and Epstein, and it's turned out to be just the opposite, that Epstein really hated Trump's guts. And now we're finding out, just in the last couple of days, over the weekend, that there was a Democrat senator from the Virgin Islands, Plackett, I think is her name. She was getting text messages, Jeemes, in 2019 when Michael Cohen was before the Judiciary Committee being grilled about the Epstein situation and Trump trying to, get dirt on Trump. Well, none other than Jeffrey Epstein was on the other end of the line. And from what I understand tonight, he gave her a $30,000 campaign donation at the same time that the Epstein files under the Dems are trying to be swept under the rug. I think what's going to happen tomorrow, it's not going to be the Republicans that got to worry about things. And I'm not saying that it wasn't Republicans involved with Epstein, but I will tell you this. I think a lot of this is about to blow up in their face. And I know one couple that ain't coming before the judiciary, and that's Bill and Hillary Clinton. They've refused to testify. And I think it's about to be a time bomb, and it's not going to be on Donald Trump tomorrow. In fact, Donald Trump tweeting out tonight, he says, release them all. He said, I got nothing to hide. Let the cards roll.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a sordid affair from beginning to end. This whole nation, or this whole notion that on Capitol Hill and inside the Beltway in Washington, D.C., it is just a sexual cesspool. And that needs to be cleaned up. And I'm of the opinion that anybody that was involved with it, if it came to manipulating these young ladies, there's a lot of question about these girls that were on the island, exactly what their status was, and were they, how culpable they were on their parts. And it is just sordid. It's just emblematic, in my view, of what's going on in Washington D.C. when there's a complete collapse of morals. And I don't know how many people I've seen go to Washington D.C. sent by constituents that want them to uphold some sort of moral code, that get trapped in these honeypots.
Yes.
In Washington D.C., and then the bad people have leverage over them their entire time in office, and in my opinion, that explains why a lot of these really bright young congressmen are resigning these days. They all say the same thing. They want to spend more time with their family. I think, in truth, they've been blackmailed and have opted for that way out. There's just a ton of leverage being exercised in Washington D.C. on individuals who are weak in terms of their moral fiber.
Do you think that, and by her name is Plaskett, Stacey Plaskett was the congresswoman that was the one texting. Do you think she's in any trouble? Do you think there is any, perhaps, some kind of ramifications for her being on the other end of those texts? Does that matter? It seems to me if you're getting a $30,000 campaign donation and you're basically feeding the questions to a congresswoman, she's been in turn trashing Trump and the witness. James, is that not bribery? I mean, does that not raise to the level of bribery in your opinion?
Yeah, but the truth is that it'll just be viewed as politics as usual, and politics as usual is killing this country.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm not going to disagree with that.
This whole sexual episode. Now, there have been, sex scandals that have brought down major governments in the Western world. And so at the end of the day, the people, the elites that are trying to exercise this thing, there may be problems for Trump, but I sort of see it like you do. It looks like going in let them release everything. Let all of those individuals that were involved be held to account on both sides of the aisle.
I'm with you there. I'm going to turn our attention, and we'll see. We're going to follow this. This will be an ongoing story. I'm sure Brad, we got him coming on tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll have some comments about this. But I do want to ask you about another developing story and a couple of things that relate to Gaza. Tonight, earlier tonight, around 6 o'clock, the UN, 13-0 with 2 abstentions, voted to endorse President Trump's 20-point peace plan for Gaza. Basically, the U.S. in this plan, Jeemes is going to be working with the UN Council members and regional partners. But I want to ask you something, because this is what I saw this weekend, a story, and we've got it on our Telegram room. The UN, in this resolution, and the U.S. backed it, they are pushing now. The U.S. has put their weight behind a Palestinian state. And I saw that at the World Israel News website. And I've sent it to several people this weekend. It's very troubling that the United States would put their weight behind this. And James, I'm just going to give you my opinion. And I'm very troubled. I've been very troubled by our cozying up with our State Department, with the White House, with a lot of our government to these Arab nations, and they're Israel's enemies. They're jihadis. They don't care for Israel. They don't care to see Israel exist. It's all politics to them. They're wanting to get something out of the United States for a nod of the head to say we won't do nothing bad. But Trump's only going to be here for 3 years. And I do not believe that the Palestinians deserve a state. They have a state. It's called Jordan. Every state that they've ever been in, every country they've been in, has kicked them out for trying to insurrect and destroy the nations. Egypt kicked them out. Jordan kicked them out. Saudis don't want them. You can't get any Arab nation to agree to give them a land, and you cannot tell me that Israel, which is the size of New Jersey, has got the room for them, but the whole Middle East, that includes almost 8,000, 5,000, 4,000 miles of square mileage, don't have room for a few million Palestinians. It makes no sense. And I'm going to tell you this, and I believe this tonight, it brings judgment on this land. If we back that play, it's going to bring judgment on America. And that's what I believe. What's your thoughts on all that?
I think in terms of spiritual dynamics, that you're right on point. In terms of geopolitical dynamics, you have, for the first time since the journalist was murdered, the Saudi crown prince coming to the country.
Yes.
And they are negotiating a deal for F-35s, which presents a clear danger to Israel, and so it seems like that this country is drifting towards a solution when it comes to Gaza that appeals to the so-called Arab allies, and I'll just give you my view of it. I think it stinks to high heaven.
Well, it does, my friend, and I think it again. What does it say to us tonight that our nation is backing something that is a danger to Israel? Where does that put Israel, James? It puts Israel in a no-win. It just puts Israel in a no-win situation. Who is given this advice? Do you think it's coming from Rubio? You think it's coming from that spiritual board? You think Trump's just trying to play Superman and get a peace? I'm not trying to say this negatively about President Trump. I respect what he's doing, but it just bothers me, and I think there's a growing concern among people that understand the geopolitical dynamics of the Middle East and the spiritual ramifications of this. This is not a good play for America right now. It's not a good play, and I don't care how America first we are. We better be God first and not worry about being America first, because we better be worried about being God first.
No, I think you know that I see things very similar. I do have some sort of maybe an understanding that Trump wants to get something done in the Middle East for legacy reasons. I understand that. I understand it's a good political play. I understand it's popular with every country in the world except for Israel. I get all of that, but in terms of our only reliable ally in the Middle East, which is Israel, in my opinion, it's bad news. I mean that the United Nations can agree with Trump on anything is not, in my mind, particularly good news for this country.
It is not. Does this end up? Where does this go if America? If we keep pushing this, and these Palestinians get that state, James, where does this put Israel? I mean, because it's like my brother. Me and my brother, we are very similar. We have differences on some things doctrinally, but this Israel thing, we've always seen eye to eye on. And we've been watching this go on for 25 years now. I remember back in 2000 and 2001, 2002, when this intifada was going on. You know, the Palestinians under Bill Clinton, James, was given about 98% of what they wanted. Bill Clinton was ready to give them a state. He was ready to give them half of Jerusalem, actually 3/4 of Jerusalem. He was willing to give them autonomy in their region and give them everything. And Ehud Barak, this liberal nut of Israel, was sitting there nodding his head, ready to give in and give Yasser Arafat everything he wanted. Palestinians got up and said no, because they wanted the full control of everything. And they wanted war with Israel. They wanted to see Israel basically destroyed. And that's when he went out, because this all happened in 99 at the Camp David meetings. And then it was after that, right after that happened, I should say in 2000, but in 2001, when Bush took over, Bush Jr., and 2002, that's when the Palestinians decided we're going to become suicide bombers. And they tried to destroy Israel by basically intifada. And I don't see there's any difference in the leadership tonight. I don't look at Mahmoud Abbas any less with much disgust as I do Yasser Arafat. He's more dangerous to me because he's more of a slick politician than Arafat ever was. And I just think we're playing our deck on the wrong hand, brother. That's just my opinion, and I keep, not to beat a dead horse, I'm on my soapbox tonight. See what you've missed not being with me last week? You get a double dose of the McDonald Monday night soapbox. I think it's a doggone bad hand, and we better be careful how we play in it, brother. We're messing with our nation's security.
Yes, I don't disagree with you on any of that, Chris. I think for spiritual reasons that our foreign policy in the Middle East should be geared towards supporting and protecting Israel, plain and simply. And this notion of a Palestinian state has two problems. Number one, you're never going to get a Palestinian state to commit to peace with Israel. They are always going to cater to elements within the Palestinian state whose dogma is to destroy Israel.
Yes.
And there is no negotiation from our side of the table that can push Palestinian leaders into a firm commitment to acknowledge the state of Israel and their right to exist.
Do you think that's? I think I know where you're going with this, but is there anything such as? Let me ask you this question, and not interrupt you. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you can sort of keep going and answer this question while you're talking. Is there any such thing as a modern Arab when you get down to it? Because if they obey their book, James, it's jihad. That's what the Quran calls for. There's no out in the Quran for anything but jihad. And if I don't know if it's the Sunni or the Shia, I never always get them confused, which is the more militant wing of Islam. But most of the Middle East, man, is that militant Islam. Most of them are underneath. They may not say it outwardly. And what did you think about the Syrian president being over here? You know, we didn't have a chance to talk last week. You know, he was on the America's Most Wanted list just a year ago. They were trying to kill him. And he was in the White House shaking hands with the president, slaughtering Christians still. Isn't that nutty?
Yeah, it is. And it just points to the fact that we have not, for the last several administrations, we have never had a consistent policy which states as rule number one that Israel's our most valuable ally in the Middle East, and we need to conduct ourselves accordingly. We have never done that. And you are quite right. This should be Palestinians, the Palestinian issue from the very beginning should have been a matter that fellow Arabs in the region should have taken care of and welcomed them to their own countries. They did not. They would rather it be a policy problem for the rest of the world and for Israel than to use their own resources, their own spaces that they have to settle these Palestinians. When they have tried to do it, it has turned to absolute disaster. A civil war in Jordan, Lebanon is still a basket case because of all of the Palestinians that settled there. Egypt now just absolutely refuses. Of course, according to this latest peace treaty, they're supposed to accept, a certain number of Palestinians. The Saudis have absolutely refused to and refused to put the money behind the effort. And so it should be a regional Arab issue to address, and they refuse to address it because it allows them to maintain this fiction of supporting the Palestinians and hating Israel at the same time.
Yeah.
And so if Trump and Trump's negotiators move towards an agreement where they can establish a firm commitment by a future Palestinian state that it will live in peace with Israel and acknowledge their right to exist, is one thing,
Yeah.
but you're never going to get to that. You are never going to get to that.
I was about to say that. I mean, that's a pipe dream, and I know you know that, and I know that, but I don't think our government knows that. But this is what worries me about Trump, and I'm going to move on to something else after this. Why do you think it's ego that's driving him to do this? And I hope it's not, because he's not Superman. And look, I applaud him, James, for wanting peace. We talked about this before on our network with you. I applaud his efforts. I think it's noble. It's honorable that he doesn't want us involved in useless wars. I get it. But he's dealing with a different entity with this Israeli thing. This is a spiritual issue. This is a God issue with that land. And as you said a while ago, you said something that was right on target. Every single administration in this country, going all the way back really to Richard Nixon, Ford a little bit, Carter especially, that Egypt-Israeli peace deal, the Israelis, what they had to give up to Anwar Sadat was criminal. But especially when it really started was George Bush Sr., when we started pressuring Israel for land for peace. And ever since that time of our history, every effort to try to fix this situation has ended in disaster, and America has had to pay the price for this with situations that you go back, and we're going to be doing this on Sunday night, talking about some of these parallels. But this is an entity that I don't know if Trump even understands. I hope somebody's speaking some sense into his head tonight. But I love him. But this is a different ball game. This ain't Tanzania and Rwanda, and this ain't even North Korea and South Korea, man. It's the Middle East.
Yes, and it's not Cambodia and Thailand.
Thank you.
Which Trump took a bow on, and now they're starting to fight again. You know, here's my view on it. Why is Trump pushing so hard for peace in the Middle East? Is because no administration before has been able to do it. It becomes a legacy issue for him. How has he gone about it? He has gone about it by circumventing the State Department. It is individuals connected to Trump that are the prime movers in all of these dealings in the Middle East, especially Kushner, Jared Kushner, Wycliffe,
Right.
all of them basically have personal contacts. And then there's a third reason, and I hope I am completely wrong about this, but I'm starting to have a really bad feeling about it. There are all sorts of economic incentives and what Trump's camp see as future economic gain in the Middle East, especially Jared Kushner's dealings with the Saudi regime and with the Kuwaitis. And so, for those three reasons, Trump is moving forward in the Middle East. Does any of those three reasons have the slightest spiritual overtone to them?
No. Zero.
Not at all. When it comes to Americans should act in the Middle East according to a Judeo-Christian moral code, that simply does not resonate in Washington, D.C.
Well, it better start, buddy. That's all I got to say. And I'm going to tell you, I'll give you a perfect example of something. I've more so this year than in recent years, I've been involved more in the stock market. And I tell you what, for the last 9 days, stock market's taken a beating. And I got a dear friend that I talk to about it a lot, and he sort of offers advice for this novice, because I'm not big. I don't know. I have enough sense in my pinky to understand what I'm doing. I'm just one of those along for the ride. But we were in agreement. We thought that maybe when the government reopened last week, that perhaps the stock market would start bouncing back, and this went the other way. It's actually started tanking. You got any thoughts about why that's happening? Is there still jitters in the market that our economy may not be as strong as we think? It just seems like every sector is down right now, and massive down. We're not talking a few percentage. We're 8 to 10% fall off, and that is millions of dollars to these investors, James, have got their funds in the stock market.
Well, let me just interject this thought among many that your other guests will have. The real driving force for these incredible stock gains over the past 2 or 3 years has been in the tech sector, especially speculative investment in what they think AI is going to produce.
Gotcha.
Now you have those expectations that are starting to plateau. And a lot of the investor confidence is now starting to step back a little bit, and you're starting to see that manifest in the stock market. These high-tech stocks that were leading the charge, and everybody's portfolio benefited as a result, are now starting to pull back a little bit because they see a plateauing of this AI, and the stock market is going to come back to more of its natural status, and I think there's going to be a pullback in the value of stocks all across the board, because you're starting to lose confidence in this tech sector that was buoying everything else in the stock market.
Yeah. Is China behind that? Is some of this due to China's play on that AI market?
Well, China's making, China has its own problems, and there are a ton of those. But in terms of our confidence, especially when ChatGPT first hit, it looked like the Americans were just going to dominate everything. And then you had this Chinese company that came along and was able to produce at much cheaper rates than the American companies were doing it, and it sent a jolt through the stock market, especially the high-tech stock market.
Yeah.
And we have not completely recovered from that. But China's making its own very impressive gains in AI. Especially they have the equivalent of 3 or 4 companies that are basically doing the same thing we're doing. And right now, the frontier on all of that is ChatGPT, and it has sort of played itself out, because it picked off the low-lying fruit in the internet in terms of absorbing information, and now there's a leveling effect that's going on that a number of experts are back and forth on what are going to be the long-term implications of it all.
Well, now I know you can send me that bar of soap now that I can take my bath in, that I have to take a bath in the stocks. Because that's what I tell Allman, my buddy Chris Allman. I said, I need a bath. Where's the bar of soap at? And he just laughs at that. But he's got more involved in it than I do. and it's been a little bit more rougher on him. I'm just a novice at all this stuff, and
Well, if you listen to an advisor or any sort of financial advisor, they're going to tell you to stay the course and keep your money. And it has been a long time. I mean, we had the mini shock in the early 2000s, but it's been a long time since there has been a complete collapse of the stock market, and they don't believe it's possible. I think it's entirely possible that this whole thing just folds up like a cheap suitcase, and that a lot of people that have invested their life savings and everything else, that they may be a year from now, they may be second guessing all their investments. And if you combine that, Chris, with what I think is a very plausible scenario, all these things always happen on Friday.
that's true.
That you have on Friday a computer meltdown that affects all the banking systems in the country. And if you do that, the way we have set ourselves up now, you cannot prove you have a penny. It's all digital. It's all embedded in the computer. They don't send you hard copies anymore of your investments and of your bank accounts and this, that, and the other. It's all we have placed our complete reliance on these computers. And if you posit a scenario where all of this goes belly up, my friend, you will not be able to prove you have a single cent in your retirement.
Well, that was leading me to my next question. The last time we had a market crash was 1987. It was October. I was working at a bank then. I remember that Tuesday. It was Black Tuesday. It wasn't Black Friday. It was Black Tuesday. Do you see something like that coming this year? That's just an opinion question. Do you think what I just heard from you, that the way the cards are being stacked right now, we could be facing a complete meltdown of these markets within the next 12 months if things don't stabilize?
Yes, if you talk to the people in the classes that I've taught, over the past several years, I posit a possible black swan scenario in terms of economics, the like of which we've never seen, and I think we're sort of overdue for it.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to disagree with that, and I think, as you said, most people, there's risk in anything, but when we had the meltdown in 2009 of the housing market, I know people that lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in their IRAs, tens of thousands of dollars, and some of them got it back, some of them didn't. And James, what's so funny about this, and I want to talk to you about some other things real quick before I let you go. What's so weird about this is this was not predicted under a Trump administration, because Trump was the one we were counting on to get our economy back percolating like he did the first time, because he took over a crap economy from Obama. He definitely took over a crap economy from Biden, but he's not had that magic touch this time around. I know people will disagree with that, and they say, well, he's got the tariffs, and the tariffs are going to kick in, and there's going to be some movement on that in the markets and movement on that in our treasury. But ultimately, that's up in the air right now with these courts, and maybe that's what the market's waiting for, is to see what these tariffs are going to do. But, buddy, I'm going to tell you something. We've not seen that, and I'm actually hearing people out there complaining about the U.S. economy. I didn't see that coming under Trump. Did you?
No, I did not. Number one, but number two, stocks have been overvalued for a long, long time.
Right.
And we are overdue for a correction, and that correction's going to be painful to a lot of people.
I'm with you, buddy. Listen, I want to ask you something about the conservative movement tonight in our last segment here, and we're going to get you back on since you wasn't on last week. We may even get you back on later this week. What has been your opinion? I know maybe you've been watching this, maybe you haven't. J.D. Vance has sort of stuck his foot in his mouth, criticizing a reporter today that was questioning Tucker Carlson and his brother and this young kid that works for J.D. Vance. He goes back to this other podcaster, Nick Fuentes, who is a vile, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but it's just what, I'll put it like this, what he puts out is vile. I'll just say it like that. I'm not going to make a character assassination to him, but what he puts out is rank anti-Semitism laced with some of the most sexist, misogynist, vulgar. It's vulgar. It's not just dirty. It's vulgar talk about women. And you've got Tucker Carlson interviewing him, and the TPA leadership not disavowing Tucker Carlson, not disavowing Fuentes, even though there's statements that Charlie Kirk did before he died. We'll leave that to discuss another time. But Tucker Carlson's brother's son works for J.D. Vance, and all the reporter was asking today was basically, how can you not stand up for the Jewish people and stand up for this and stand against the anti-Semitism of Nick Fuentes? And he got upset, called her a scumbag, and it just unleashed a firestorm. James, then you got Marjorie Taylor Greene tonight that is apologizing to the left of all things for the toxicity of what the right has done to the left. You got to be joking me. And then you've got Matt Gaetz, you've got Dave Smith, you've got the Hodge twins, you've got so many people, and that is not even counting the other nuts out there, the Anna Kasparians and the Candace Owens and all these voices that are just hating on Israel. But what it's doing by extension, and it goes back to sort of what we were talking about earlier, buddy, it's tearing the mega movement to pieces. It's dividing the mega movement right down the middle. And I'm just going to ask you to look, not that we have crystal balls on this show, because we don't, but do you think that this hurts JD in 28 if he keeps walking down this road, embracing this stuff? Eventually it's going to catch up to him, I believe, with the voters. That's just my opinion. I'm more leaning toward Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis is the key to 28. I like Ron. I've lost a lot of respect for JD over the last few months, but embracing this stuff and not disavowing it. Because to me, it's about character and integrity. You don't do it. I don't care how politically you think it's right to back an anti-Semite. It's not politically correct in any shape, form, or fashion of this universe to do such. I don't care even if you are the vice president of the United States.
Well, that's an interesting soapbox to get on right there. Let me address it this way, and you've heard me say before, Chris, and I'm absolutely convinced of this. Nothing is as it seems, and every time there's like a line that the media sort of clusters to and hovers over, it's totally detached from a reality of the agenda that is being slowly perpetuated by elites under the surface that are pulling a lot of strings. All of that, to me, it is like for conservatives especially, it is like all of these flip-flops. If you don't sort of keep that sort of rationale in mind, would drive you crazy, like Marjorie Greene and Tucker Carlson. My goodness, like what has happened to Tucker Carlson? He was he was being touted at one time as a conservative possible presidential candidate.
I do remember that. Yes.
And he had there was a considerable confidence in his viewpoints among the conservative and the right wing, and he has lost a ton of credibility. Candace Owens has lost a ton of credibility, and so it just seems like everything is geared towards disunity and disunity that is fracturing one of the most powerful political movements we have seen in this country.
Totally agree.
In the last several decades.
Totally agree.
And you have to ask, what is going on?
Is it intentional?
What is going on, in my opinion, is that the elites who are setting the agendas are pulling strings that we can't see towards a narrative and an objective that we can't see play out. And these are all things that we get wrapped around the axle of when the real story lies someplace else. It's all sleight of hand, in my view.
I think that's a wise way to go, and I do believe it's deliberate. I don't think this is by accident, and I think that J.D. Vance has not helped himself with not being clear about this, and I've got some comments after I let you go to the audience tonight about what I feel about some of this stuff, but it's good stuff tonight, man. Listen, any other thoughts tonight? We may get you back on. The world is going so crazy. I just about need you on every night, but I'm grateful to see you tonight. We missed you last week, man. It wasn't the same show. They had to listen to some redneck Southerner by himself. Can you imagine me having to run my mouth all week? I'm surprised I got an audience out there. See, I always lose. It's so funny. When I post something, if I post something anti-Tucker or anti-Candace, half the audience leaves. If I post something pro-Tucker, pro-Candace, half the audience leaves. This is how they're dividing this, man. So to let them make me listen to me all week long, I'm lucky I got an audience left tonight. So I'm grateful that we've got the folks there out there. But it is good to have had you tonight, man. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm going to give you a few minutes to wrap us up. I'm going to say goodnight. It's already midnight, and I want to try to get people in bed as quickly as they can tonight. But I do want to thank you for being with me. And Jeemes, I tell you, these are dangerous times. These are troublesome times. Look, we've got a situation. We're 2 months away from basically the Jihadi takeover. And, I haven't even talked to you about this. Maybe this will be something we can talk about later this week. It's very concerning. I saw a report tonight. You realize there have been 45 mosques that have come up in the red state of Texas over the last year? 45. Is it a fair statement that we're being basically invaded from within by the enemies of Israel?
I used to be on sort of a speaking tour when this was when the jihadi threat was much more obvious than it is now. It's been sort of buried to the back pages. And I would talk about statistics that by mid-century, the Muslims, basically because of demographics and the rapid rate at which they reproduce, are going to be in control of almost every major metropolitan area in the United States. There are going to be consequences for all of that.
Right.
And we ignore that threat to our peril. I'm convinced there are sleeper cells in this country that at a moment's notice can be activated. I'm convinced that I don't care whether you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood or any other organization. We have spent years in this country, and as part of administration, we were trying to find moderate Muslims that would stand against the extremists. And every time we did, we bucked up against Sharia law and the Quran that stands against everything that our Constitution and our way of life values. And these are very real, in my mind, long-term threats. And I am just so afraid that at 3 or 4 layers down, the elites have somehow made a devil's bargain with these types of individuals and these types of movements, and we are going to see the results of it play out
eventually. Yeah,
in the future.
I'm with you, buddy. What did you think of? Final question to you tonight. What did you think of Michelle Obama's comment that the country needs to grow up before we elect a woman president? I would tell Miss Obama something, or Mr. Obama, I don't know which. I'll get in trouble for that one, but I want to tell her. I want to tell her something right now. I think the country's very grown up, that we can see through their crap, and that's why the Obamas will not see that White House again, because we saw through your crap, and we don't want it no more. We had 8 years of vomiting it up, so it's not about us growing up; it's about us throwing up at the Obama flavor. So I would say that to Miss Obama with the utmost respect. But just keep your trap shut, because I think you're out of your league, Michelle. You don't know what you're talking about. What's your thoughts on that? Final thoughts?
Yeah, before Barack Obama was elected, there was a very, very careful groundwork that was laid for him. And one of the victims of his rise to power was none other than Hillary Clinton. He was able to push her aside in his run for the presidency. So now, all these years later, when Michelle says the country's not ready for a woman president, it was her husband that basically, assuming a wife-husband relationship there, that pushed a very logical and probably potential winning Democratic Party candidate aside.
I'll agree. Yeah, I mean, but again, the Obamas only say this stuff because they're losing relevance. Barack's out there running his trap because he's losing relevance. We don't care anymore what the Obamas think, and I hope they'll get that message tonight. There is a story out. I'm going to follow it this week, and I may get back with you on this. But there's rumors, not sure how confirmed they are, that Netflix, which is basically the Obama network, is about to buy CNN. And wouldn't that be a peach of a union to have and they're going to literally, I read this today, either on X or Breitbart One, I don't know which, but they are saying that if that happens, that they're literally going to call it the Obama News Network. And that should not surprise any of us, because that's what it was to begin with, wasn't it? The Clinton News Network and the Crap News Network, and now it's going to be the ONN, not the CNN, the Crap News Network. But anyway, we're just living in a crazy world, Akers. We're living in a crazy world.
We are. And let me, Chris, in terms of Obama's relevance, the Obama organization is doing more to develop a grassroots organization all across this country that basically disagrees with everything that we stand for. There are cells Obama play script. So I would argue that Obama's being much more effective than Republicans pre-Charlie Kirk, who were satisfied with just holding conventions and making a show and not doing anything to organize at the grassroots level. Obama wing of the Democratic Party was winning that race until Charlie Kirk. And that's probably one of the reasons why Charlie Kirk is dead right now.
Oh, agree with that, but that's good. That's well said. Well, listen. Go ahead.
So, at any rate, I'm going to dig myself into a hole if I go much further along those lines.
Well, it's better for you to dig yourself into a hole than for them to listen to a redneck Southerner by himself. So you keep going ahead and digging. I mean, it just adds to my ratings, Akers. I mean, what ratings I've got left. My fan club died, Did you realize my fan club broke up yesterday? The guy died, so I'm sorry about that. But anyway, listen.
Chris, you have some in the circles I travel with. I'm surprised at the number of people that tell me that they listen to McFiles.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel good.
So to take heart in that you're making a difference, and my friend, there are a whole lot of people that think they are that aren't. So.
I'll give a tip of the hat to that. Buddy, it's late. I'm gonna let you go. Listen, hang loose this week. If I may get you back on later this week to do another one. You be safe going home to Ohio tomorrow. God bless you. It's so good to hear from you tonight. Tim Neal, I'm going to agree. I'll read one statement. He said, you knocked it out of the park tonight, and I'll agree with that. I think you've done a fantastic job. It was it's a good Monday night. Good way to get the week started out on the show, and man, you nailed it tonight. We appreciate you coming in and talking to us as you always do, man. Bless you so much.
It is always a pleasure talking to your audience, Chris, and I covet the personal friendship that's blossoming between us, and I hope it just keeps going and gets deeper.
Same here. I hear that there's a new saying in Cincinnati, though. Go Bengals and take the Reds with you. I don't know if there's any truth to that. I thought that was fake news. I mean, but from the city that put Jerry Springer over it as his mayor, I can almost see that kind of mentality. I'll let you go, man. Have a good night. Get some rest. Love you, man. Bless you. Have a good night.
Be blessed.
You too,
and
buddy.
Your audience blessed as well, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity, my friend.
You've got them all the time you want. God bless you, friend. See you next time. Good night.
You bet.
Jeemes Akers, everybody, put some fire in that house. We are so grateful to. We are so grateful. Oh, go Bengals and don't feel bad, Cincinnati. We've got the same saying down here in Atlanta. Go Braves and take the Falcons with you. In fact, we'd give you the Falcons right now. And, of course, we got a basketball team, too. We got the Hawks. They're, we're a cursed city in Atlanta. We're just a cursed city. Anyway, it's good to see Cleo in the house tonight. I'm so grateful that she's there. She's been out there tonight. Everybody say hello to her and the YouTube. Put some fire in that house. The people already putting the fire in the house. Hadn't even have to tell them to do it. And they're putting fire in the house tonight. It's good to see everybody. We got some good comments I'm going to read here in a minute. I do got to play you. I got to play you one video tonight. We got a double feature tomorrow night. Brad, speaking of Brad Johnson, he's coming on at 7:30 tomorrow night. So we're going to have an early bird 7:30 show. Monday night, Tuesday night's our news night. And then the late show tomorrow night, we're going to do the video news thing. And, of course, Wednesday night's Faith. Thursday night, we're trying to get some guests we hadn't had in a while. Trying to get Eric Karen. He's been sort of traveling in Balding. We want to talk to him about what's going on in the Sudan and also in the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria, and terrible, terrible situation going on over there still. And we're also trying to we may talk to Mike Simonelli about New York, and Zoran Mendami. I pronounced it right because in my head, somebody said this is the way you remember his name because Zoran rhymes with whatever Ron. So we'll just leave it at that. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf before January that we're not going to use disparaging terms because we do not want to offend the real morons out there in the world. So I just want to say that record tonight. It's good. My wife has already gone to bed tonight. I'm going to get hammered for that one in the morning. But anyway, I'm just in a late night fun mood tonight. It's been good to be with you. I tell you, James hit it out of the park, didn't he? And he did well. And good to see everybody. Let's see if we got some comments here. Jenny says, let's not forget about what Jenny Castellanova, good to see you tonight. She says, let us not forget what the last 4 years of open border policy, the population that has flooded into our country one step at a time. Jenny, that's right. It has been, but Trump has, I think Trump's done a pretty decent job. If the courts would leave him alone, which they're not going to do, if the left would stop suing him and just let him do his job, and these mayors would just get on board the law train, I think he could fix it. He's doing a pretty good daggum job. Tom Homan, to me, is man of the year. This past year, what Tom Homan has done during the first 11 months of this year, I think has been outstanding. And it's come at a cost. He don't even live with his wife because it's so dangerous and the threats. He's got her in an undisclosed location right now, and he's in an undisclosed location because there's been so many threats on his life. And, and then to have these Dems, the audacity of these Dems, try to claim he took a bribe that you didn't take. And, again, that's bearing false witness. And you Bible students in the morning, you know what we've been talking about. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But, it's sad. But your point is on target because we don't know totally what is in here. James said it tonight. He does not doubt there are sleeper cells here, and I don't doubt that either. I think it's just a matter of time. I will tell you this. I should have asked him about this. The other thing that Trump is doing that he's not getting a lot of credit for, I'll put it like this. If you are a cartel member and you are a fentanyl pusher and you're a boat rider that's coming from Colombia and coming from Venezuela and coming from South America, excuse me, Amy Miller, coming from South America, I put it like this. You better have some good life insurance because you're going to get blown out of the water. And I don't think I've ever seen a president, to my knowledge, in the history of this country, tackle and address the cartels head on. I mean, flat, head on, in your face, like Donald Trump's doing. And he don't care. And on that, this redneck Southerner tips his hat. But you have to laugh at it. You have to laugh at it. The left is losing their mind that Trump is killing drug dealers and cartel meth pushers and fentanyl pushers. They're losing their mind, literally. The courts are losing their mind. People are suing. This is how nutty this world's gotten. The left is wanting to sue Trump for keeping the country safe, which they've always done that. But as I said, I would have some life insurance in hand if I was a cartel member tonight, and so forth. So we'll see. Feed the fish, Jenny. Feed the fish. Feed the fish. That's exactly what he's doing. That is that is exactly what he is doing. Let me play this video about the Epstein file. This is Hakeem Jeffries today, and he had his butt handed to him. I don't know who the reporter is. I was trying to figure out who this was. But the Dems are about to open up a can. They've done this to themselves. They've literally pushed themselves into this place of Uno. I heard Greg Gutfeld say that tonight. It's a spiritual game of Uno, a political game. And the Dems are about to lose this, but this has to do with the Stacey Plackett and the Virgin Islands. Listen closely to the reporter's question to Hakeem Jeffries tonight.
Thanks. Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a...
You know what I've realized about Hakeem? When he's nervous and he knows his backside's in a ringer and he's getting hammered with a question, he does this eye dot thing. He does this eye thing back and forth. I've noticed that about him. Ricky Wilson told me that when Newsom talks, that there are certain things that he does with his mouth that she knows he's lying. And there was somebody else that she told me about. Pelosi was another one. Well, Hakeem Jeffries is the same way. Whenever you see that little eye thing, like he's darting back and forth, he's nervous. And he's getting his tail handed to him. Keep going. You got 20 seconds.
Congressional hearing. And at one point he tells her, good job.
This is a bipartisan effort.
It's not a bipartisan effort.
To make sure.
They're not going to make sure. The only bipartisan effort is Liz Cheney Jr., which is now Marjorie Taylor Greene, and crazy nutcase, nutjob, deranged Thomas Massie in Kentucky. Roll the tape.
That consistent with what the survivors have requested.
And the survivors have said Trump was not involved. Some of them have requested it. And folks, I got to say this to you tonight. Let him finish this.
That there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability.
Okay. Two of the biggest predators, one of them at least, is Bill Clinton. Him and Hillary have said, we're not going to come before the committee, or we're not going to come before Congress and testify about it. So, if you don't believe this is a Haman moment, they are putting themselves up for a bomb tomorrow. I'm telling you that they want transparency. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. But I just find it hilariously funny when they do this stuff. But they wanted Trump. It was a sham. All it was a political hit job on Trump. And my personal opinion is Plaskett needs to be thrown out of Congress. She needs to be thrown out of Congress. She's not going to be, but she needs to be thrown out of Congress. There needs to be a criminal investigation. There just needs to be a criminal investigation. But anyway, and Kamala, yeah, there you go, Cleo. Kamala giggles inappropriately when she's cornered too, and that's well said. That is absolutely well said. It is. That's very true. That is very true. Somebody said on the Tucker thing, and folks, let me just say this tonight. We don't have time to do it tonight because it's late after midnight in the late show. When we do these late shows, I usually just let the guests talk, and I don't have a lot of time to do what I want to do. And it's good because James needed to be here tonight. I love you guys, but I like when these guests come on and talk. And now I could run my mouth for an hour. I've got that a bit. I could run my mama always told me, she said, I just pray one day you get a job where you can run your mouth because you sure are good at it. Now, I don't know if my mom was complimenting me that day or being sarcastic because she was a turnage and I get it from her. I never could tell sometimes. I had to look at her closely and see if she was smiling when she said it. But we turnages, we just have a way about us. You know, we can cut you to pieces and smile at you while we're doing it, and sometimes we can be cutting you whole, you know, and making you feel good without you knowing it. That's just a gift. It's just a gift. But I think she was being sarcastic. But anyway, it was good to have James tonight. But I will tell you this about this anti-Semitism. I'm going to make a few general statements, and then I'm going to let you go tonight. They asked Trump today about Tucker, and or last night, and I do not believe it was a trap question. I think that there is some legitimate concerns growing, folks, in the MAGA community, and it's legit. Why nobody is calling out the anti-Semitism on the right. Not the left. Not the left, but the right. And if we don't get this situation addressed, it should have been addressed a while back, but it has festered, and the sore is getting more deep, and when the scab ultimately comes off, it's going to be a lot worse the longer this goes on. I'm going to just give you, this is the McFiles, this is my opinion, and as James famously says, not everybody will agree with this, and that's okay, but this is my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. J.D. Vance should not be within 10 million miles of Nick Fuentes. Donald Trump, President Trump, should be disavowing everything that Nick Fuentes says, and if Tucker Carlson has Nick Fuentes on his program applauding what Nick Fuentes is saying, which is basically vile Hitler talk, it's probably not even calling it old-fashioned Jew hatred talk. It's just plain vile anti-Semitism, neighbor. I don't know what part of this that they don't get. You know, I haven't wore this hat. I got this hat, but I have neither the time nor the crayons to explain this to you. I'm sorry. I'd get in so much trouble if I wore that. Let me put that hat down. But I don't know if we need to draw this in crayon for the MAGA movement. This is not a good look for us. It's not a good look for the right. Neighbor, it's not a good look for anybody. I don't care what party you are. This is not good. And you either renounce it, by your silence, you are basically saying it's okay. You're basically saying it's okay. And I think J.D. Vance handled this today as horribly as he could have handled it. He should have just kept his mouth shut. The reporter's question was a fair question, and she's not a scumbag. She was asking a fair question, and what he seemed to come across as was, hey, I'm more concerned about my ties to Tucker than I am being anti-Semitic. I read a post, and I'll just say it like this, and I tend to agree with it. He didn't even defend his wife from the attacks on her faith, from the women on The View, and Jen Psaki, as much as he defended this anti-Semitic vile individual today, standing up for the anti-Semite instead of just letting the reporter ask the question and saying, you know, I don't agree with the anti-Semitism coming out of Tucker Carlson's mouth, nor Nick Fuentes. That's the simplest answer he could have given. President Trump is going to wind up being put in a place that he's going to have to renounce this, folks. Now, that's my opinion. As the old saying goes, you ain't got to agree with that. We can get along. If you don't, we can agree to disagree. And anyway, I'll leave it at that. The fire in the house stopped when I started talking about this, and I hope it, because I know it makes people uncomfortable. It makes people uncomfortable, but folks, let me tell you something. Can I just tell you something tonight? It should make us uncomfortable. Anti-Semitic talk should make us uncomfortable. People not standing up for what's right should make us uncomfortable. When people don't have moral clarity in a nation, it should make us uncomfortable. When we don't have spiritual clarity, it should make us uncomfortable. I'll amen myself. It was not handled right. None of this has been handled right. And I'm going to say this to the Turning Point people tonight. I respected Charlie Kirk. I respected the young man. I'm still in shock, as many of you are. It's only been 60 days since all this happened, and it's hard to believe our nation has reached this point that we're assassinating people that we don't agree with. We've not seen something like this in our lifetime. And I think that there is a lot of ambiguity about where he stood with Israel and where the organization stands with Israel now. Look, let's take Charlie out of the equation. Whether he stood with Israel or not is not the question. The question is where's the organization now? Charlie's gone. God bless his heart and God rest his soul. And our prayers for his widow, who was taking some unfair hits in the media, taking unfair criticism. Whether it's fair or not, it's not fair, but it's just the way the sick world of the internet is. It's the sick world of social media is. False accusations after false accusations, slander, gossip, innuendo, accusation, half-truths, half-lies. Sounds like somebody's Bible study topic we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks, don't it? In the mornings at 10 o'clock on the McFiles Faith Network. It's amazing. It's amazing what kind of crap goes out over there on that social media. But I'm going to tell you this tonight, folks. I don't care what Charlie felt or didn't feel. What I do care about tonight is what his organization feels about it tonight. And if they're embracing these vile anti-Semites and shaking hands with them and putting them on platforms, the organization is going to be in trouble. And again, this redneck Southerner will amen himself. I'll amen myself. Peddlers of scandal. Roger's been listening. Roger's been listening. Peddlers of scandal. That's exactly what they are. I got a few amens in the house, and I'll leave it alone at that tonight. Jenny, did Trump give cover for Tucker? I'm not going to go that far. I think I don't know what he's thinking right now about that. I don't know. I think it's a time bomb. I do. I think it's a dangerous thing that they're playing with. They're playing with fire with this. They just are. Because the stink of all this is gonna keep going, and it's destroying. It is dividing the country. It's dividing the movement. It is dividing the mega movement, neighbor. It's tearing people apart. This anti-Semitism on the right. It's amazing to me. You know what's amazing to me? I got to close tonight. When the left was doing it, and I heard Bill Maher talk about this, and it was so well said, or Ted Cruz said it, but Bill Maher actually gave Ted Cruz the tip of the hat. You think the world's coming to an end? Bill Maher agreed with Ted Cruz. But Ted Cruz said it. He said that 10 years ago, he said the Democrats did not confront the anti-Semitism in their party until it fully took their party over. And he said if the Republicans don't confront it now, it's going to take over the party too. What's so sad to me is that the Democrat Party has reached a point they don't even care that they've got an anti-Semitic voice in their party. They don't care. And some of the Democrats are telling the Republicans, you've got us as an example to show you what happens to a party when you let radical jihadists take it over, and we're not learning those lessons. But I will tell you this. People with character and people with integrity and with a moral compass in their heart and something in their soul and something between their brains and between their ears that are, it's not mush produced by a social media environment of hell. We do have a conscience about this, and we don't like it, and we don't want to see it destroy our nation. I could care less about the party. I really could care less about MAGA tonight in the sense of worrying about a movement. But what I do care about is what it is doing to our nation. What it's doing to people who call themselves Christians. That's what I'm concerned about. Now, don't go out there. Well, Chris just said he don't like MAGA no more. That's not what Chris said. That's not what Chris said. What I said is I'm more concerned about what this is doing to our nation. This is what I'm concerned about with Christian voices that are doing it, sadly, so-called Christian voices. There are only a few voices that are standing up to it, and I tell you what's happening. I saw a black pastor today. He said he lost 200 followers in one day yesterday because he basically confronted the anti-Semitism on the right. There's been hundreds, thousands of followers that are flocking away from the pro-biblical view of Israel. And folks, when we get down to cases, very, very few are going to be standing on the right side of this. I'm going to go out of here tonight, as I always do on a Monday night. We better get on the right side of this argument. And it's really not an argument. It's either God's side or the wrong side. We say, well, we got to be America first. Yeah, we do need to be America first. I love my country. I do. I'm not an Israeli citizen. I'm an American citizen. But I'm going to tell you something. We better be more worried about being God first. And I will tell you this. That nation behind me right here, you see this beautiful flag where our connection is. We're connected to them. They're connected to us, whether we like it or not. But this nation's future is secure, even though it's going to be filled with so much horror and terror that we cannot put words in descriptions of what's ahead of this nation. But at least we know where she's going to wind up in the Bible. 2,301 times she's mentioned. This one's not mentioned once. This one's not mentioned once. So, what does that tell us on this Monday night? Now, Tuesday morning. I'll tell you what it tells us. The future of the good old U.S. of A. is in the balance. Is in the balance. And we better make the right call and the right choice. And our connection to this nation has a lot to do with that choice tonight. And we better start being morally clear about where we stand and against these anti-Semitic voices and not hesitate to call it for what it is. It is wickedness. It is evil. It is demonic. It is satanic. And I will amen myself again. I will amen myself again. Did you enjoy the show? I hope that you enjoyed the show. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Mary, we got sound. I don't know what. If there's no sound, you've got problems on your computer. Not here. You got problems on your computer. Good to see everybody in the house tonight. We will be back here later in the morning at 10 o'clock with the Bible study. And it is good to see Cleo in the house tonight. Give her some fire. Tell her hello tonight. Good to see you, friend. Bless you, buddy. And folks down under, we pray for the continent of Australia. Cleo is fighting the fight down there. She is standing up and trying her best to be a voice of reason to so many. Most don't listen to her. Many need to. She's trying her best. She's one of the fighters. And the reason we love her so much, she's a dear friend, she's a cherished friend, but I know this about her. She's got something called moral clarity, and I've always respected that with her. And we had better take a lesson here in this nation. We better get some moral clarity too. Very quickly. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. God bless Australia. And God bless and pray for the peace of Jerusalem tonight. We love you all. We hope you had a good time. I didn't go too bad on you. And we had some fun with you. It's just getting started. We ain't got to the good stuff yet. Me and Johnson tomorrow night, we're going to have a ball. We're going to chit-chat and chin-wag and discuss the world too and the way things are going, what happens in the next 24 hours. Who knows when we'll be here tomorrow night. But join us for that, and we'll be here around 7:30 tomorrow night with Brad, and then we'll be back here late night with another news show. Tomorrow night we'll play some video, talk about the news headlines, and give you some more of the McDonald opinion. If you enjoyed the show, say amen, put some fire in that house, get some rest tonight. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.